Ladies and gentlemen, in a world where people often seek validation from others, it's almost inevitable that at some point each one of us will face rejection. Maybe it's from a friend, a family member, or even someone who once claimed to cherish us deeply. Rejection isn't just a word, it's a feeling, a reality that etches itself into our hearts. And when it's severe, the scars can feel almost insurmountable. But what happens when we meet that rejection with silence? You see, silence, in its very essence, is powerful. In a world so full of noise, chatter, and endless opinions, the absence of words speaks louder than any phrase ever could. When we choose silence, we allow space for reflection, for the energy to settle, and for the soul to recalibrate. And often, when silence follows rejection, it begins to serve as a mirror. Rejection is a force. It is a declaration of someone's perceived inadequacy in another's eyes, a choice to distance oneself for reasons known or unknown. But silence is strength. Silence is the force of restraint, of conscious choice to withhold words that might otherwise inflame or trigger an emotional reaction. When someone rejects you and you respond with silence, that silence begins to reverberate in their world in ways they may never have anticipated. Let me tell you something that many people have yet to realize: silence holds a weight. It lingers in the heart, it fills the mind, and it unsettles the spirit of the one who rejected you. Because silence makes them wonder, silence makes them question, and most profoundly, silence makes them reflect. The absence of reaction unsettles them because it's a reaction they can't predict, manipulate, or counter. The one who rejects you expects a certain response, maybe anger, perhaps a plea, or at the very least, disappointment. They want to see evidence that they matter enough to affect you. But when your response is a profound, confident silence, they are forced to sit with the reality that perhaps they overestimated their importance in your life. They begin to wonder, did I make the right decision? Silence, dear friends, is one of the most dignified responses we can offer in the face of rejection. It is not passive, in fact, it is the most active choice you can make. When others dismiss you, ridicule you, or push you aside, silence allows you to reclaim power. Instead of rushing to defend yourself, explaining your worth, or begging for acceptance, silence lets your actions speak for themselves. And more importantly, it allows their own consciousness to work on them. Imagine this: when someone rejects you, they may believe they hold power over you, assuming that their decision defines your worth. But when you answer with silence, you deny them this false sense of power. You've turned away from seeking their validation and instead leaned into the understanding that your worth is not theirs to measure. Silence is also, in a way, a form of respect. Not necessarily respect for them, but respect for yourself and your journey. It's a declaration that you don't need to engage in endless back and forth to assert your value. It tells them in the world that your energy is too precious to waste on proving your worth to those who have chosen not to see it. And here's something truly remarkable: silence is not just about them, it's about you. It's about recognizing the space and the peace you need to heal, to grow, and to gain perspective. Silence after rejection offers you the clarity that words often cloud. It provides room for contemplation, for gathering strength, and for understanding that their rejection is not your definition, but rather a revelation. Silence, in this sense, becomes a gift you give yourself, a sanctuary from the judgments and opinions of others. Now, let's talk about what happens in the minds of those who reject you when they are met with your silence. At first, they may feel relieved, thinking, oh, that went easier than expected, but over time, that silence will begin to echo. In the void of your response, their mind begins to fill in the blanks, questioning if they made a mistake, if they misunderstood, or if they underestimated you. Silence left long enough creates a space where their assumptions are left to stir without validation. This space can often lead to discomfort, then curiosity, and eventually doubt. You see, silence, though peaceful, can become unsettling for others because they don't know how to handle it. They expected you to chase after them, to seek approval, to respond with pain or anger. But when you do the opposite, you leave them with questions that only they can answer. This silence disrupts their expectations, and in that disruption, they are forced to face the consequences of their rejection. It is here that silence can begin to work on their conscience. When you remain silent, you force them to confront what lies beneath their choice to reject you. Was it insecurity? Was it a need to feel superior? Or was it a fear of your potential? Your silence allows them the space to sit with these questions, and over time, this can become an unexpected source of discomfort and ultimately regret. And here's an important truth, friends. Not everyone is prepared to handle regret. Not everyone is ready to admit that they may have overlooked something valuable in you. Silence becomes a mirror, reflecting their actions back to them without interference. This mirror forces them to see not only the reality of their decision, but also the depth of their own insecurities, fears, and flaws. There is power in this because over time, your silence reveals the reality that you don't need their approval to thrive. In fact, it becomes apparent that you are thriving without them. This can be deeply unsettling for those who thrive on control, on validation, or on the mistaken belief that they are indispensable in your life. Now, why does this silence hurt them so deeply? Because silence leaves no room for defense or justification. When you argue or plead, they have the satisfaction of knowing that their rejection affected you. But when you are silent, they have nothing to work with. Silence denies them the comfort of knowing they were the center of your world. Instead, they are left wondering if they ever really mattered to you at all. People who reject often anticipate your reaction. They're ready for rebuttals, for reactions, for counter-arguments. But silence is something they can neither predict nor control. And that unpredictability is unsettling because it forces them into a position of vulnerability they weren't prepared for. In your silence, they come face to face with their own insecurities. In fact, silence can often make them question their own actions. They might wonder, did I act too harshly? Was there something I missed? That silence forces them into introspection, leading them to question if their rejection was born out of truth or out of a need to protect their own ego. Silence is also an expression of independence. It tells them and everyone around you that you don't need their validation to feel complete. Your silence is a statement that says, I am enough without your acceptance, and I will continue to be enough whether you see it or not. It's a message that resonates whether they admit it or not, because it points to an inner strength they may not have anticipated. And while they grapple with the discomfort your silence brings, you are gifted with something much more profound: peace. You're free from the need to explain or justify your worth. You're liberated from the cycle of seeking approval from those who couldn't see your value. Instead, you are able to focus on your own journey, your growth, and your healing. This freedom is priceless, and it is something no amount of external validation can replace. Silence becomes a powerful teacher. It teaches those who rejected you that their opinion does not define you. It teaches them that their approval is not a currency by which you measure your self-worth. And perhaps most significantly, it teaches them that they can lose you, that you are not bound to them by their perception of who you are. Silence, my friends, can be like a balm to the soul, a force that soothes and strengthens. It's easy to forget that silence doesn't mean passivity or weakness. In fact, it takes great strength to withhold words, especially when your heart has been wounded. When someone rejects you, the instinct is often to rush to explain, defend, or ask for answers. But in choosing silence, you resist this impulse, grounding yourself in a place of inner resilience that few truly understand. You see, silence after rejection is not about ignoring or pretending that pain doesn't exist. No, it's about acknowledging that your healing doesn't depend on someone else's recognition or apology. Your silence serves as a boundary, a line you draw to protect yourself from further harm. It's a signal that you're giving yourself space to reflect, to process, and to rise above. It says, I am still worthy, even if you fail to see it. Those who reject you often believe that their actions will diminish your spirit, that they have the power to lower your sense of worth. But your silence tells them something quite different. It tells them that you are rooted in a strength far beyond their understanding. When they hear nothing in return, when they realize that you are not pleading for their attention or trying to convince them of your value, they are faced with an unsettling truth: they don't hold sway over your life. Silence can also act as a protective shield. In a world where every action, every reaction is scrutinized, silence becomes a fortress, guarding you from judgment, gossip, and negativity. In choosing silence, you create a space free from the noise of opinions, one where you can nurture your own peace and dignity. Rejection may have wounded you, but silence keeps that wound from being reopened by unnecessary confrontation or criticism. Now, for those who rejected you, your silence creates an unexpected void. In the emptiness of that silence, they are left alone with the echoes of their choice. They may begin to realize that perhaps their rejection was hasty, that may be in their pursuit of something better. They fail to appreciate the beauty of what they already had. And in time, that void grows, making them question their decision more deeply than any words ever could. In their silence, they are left to wonder, why hasn't this person reacted? Why didn't they respond? This lack of response is what unsettles them most, because it's a reaction they cannot control or anticipate. They don't know if you're moving on, if you're thriving without them, or if you're simply uninterested in rekindling what they so casually dismissed. Silence is a mystery, and that mystery causes discomfort, often leading them to question their actions and sometimes even to feel regret. Regret, as we know, is a powerful emotion, and it's one that cannot be easily shaken. Once regret takes hold, it creates a ripple effect within them. It stirs their conscience, making them question not only their decision to reject you, but also the deeper reasons behind it. Regret lingers, it haunts, and it often leads to a period of introspection they might never have embarked upon otherwise. This is where your silence becomes truly transformative. It forces them to examine their own heart, their own intentions, and the motivations behind their rejection. They may come to realize that their decision was not a reflection of your worth, but rather a mirror of their own insecurities and fears. They may see that in dismissing you, they were trying to mask their own shortcomings or avoid facing the areas in themselves that need healing. By staying silent, you give them the gift of self-reflection. You become a catalyst for their growth, even if they are unwilling to admit it. They begin to see the error of their ways, not because you pointed it out, but because they were left alone with their conscience. In your silence, you have provided them with the opportunity to confront themselves in a way that words never could. You allowed them to look into the mirror and see the truth of their actions without interference. And let's not forget, silence also liberates you. It frees you from the cycle of needing approval or chasing validation. It reminds you that you are not dependent on someone else's acceptance to feel complete. Silence, in this sense, is an act of self-love. It allows you to nurture your own spirit, to find solace within yourself, and to grow in ways that might have been impossible had you sought closure through words. In your silence, you reclaim your time, energy, and focus. You begin to see that rejection was never about you, it was about them. It was about their inability to see your value, their unwillingness to accept your authenticity, or their own lack of readiness to meet you where you are. By choosing silence, you start seeking explanations that were never yours to find. And here is something profound: silence allows you to rediscover your own voice. In that quiet, you hear the whispers of your own intuition, your own dreams, and your own desires. You begin to remember the strength that lies within you, a strength that was perhaps dimmed in the shadow of someone else's rejection. Silence becomes a space where you can reconnect with yourself, nurturing the parts of you that were overlooked or misunderstood. For those who rejected you, this silence can be excruciating because it reveals their miscalculations. It reveals that you are stronger, more resilient, and more self-sufficient than they ever realized. They begin to see that in rejecting you, they may have lost someone truly valuable, someone whose presence in their life brought light and meaning. Your silence then is not a retreat. It is a silent affirmation of your worth, a statement that says, I am whole. With or without your acceptance, it's a declaration that you are no longer willing to allow others to dictate your sense of self. You are, in essence, setting a standard. If they cannot see your value, then your silence will show them what they are missing. Over time, your silence becomes a reminder of their own loss. As they watch you grow, thrive, and become more of who you are meant to be, they are left to ponder the opportunity they squandered. This realization can be painful, even haunting, as they come to terms with the reality that your life is moving forward, unshaken by their decision to walk away. And make no mistake, as you grow in silence, they will see the strength of your character, the integrity of your heart, and the resilience of your spirit. They will witness, often from a distance, the unfolding of your journey, the success that comes from staying true to yourself. And in that witnessing, they may feel a sting of regret, knowing that they missed out on something rare and irreplaceable. So let your silence speak. Let it be a testament to your strength, a reminder of your worth, and a symbol of your inner peace. Let it be a space where you can find healing, growth, and resilience. For in that silence, you hold the power to redefine not only how others see you, but also how you see yourself. You see, in silence, you're no longer playing by their rules. Rejection often comes with unspoken expectations that you'll be hurt, that you'll try to convince them otherwise, or that you'll show signs of struggle without them. But when you remain silent, you break away from this narrative. You show them in the world that your peace does not depend on their validation. And this, my friends, is a truth that unsettles those who thought they could diminish your spirit with their rejection. Silence transforms rejection into reflection. It allows you to ask questions that truly matter, questions that bring you closer to understanding yourself. You might ask, what can I learn from this experience? How can this rejection refine my character and align me with my purpose? Rather than focusing on their decision to reject you, silence shifts the focus to what you can gain from it. This mindset not only liberates you, but also strengthens you, revealing aspects of yourself that you may have overlooked. Through silence, you come to see that rejection is often a redirection. While someone's rejection may close a door, silence allows you to hear the knock of new opportunities, new relationships, and new paths that align more closely with your values. It's through this quiet that you discover that rejection was never an end, it was an invitation to explore new beginnings. Now, consider this: when you meet rejection with silence, you create an aura of mystery and depth around yourself. It's not about being aloof or inaccessible, but about holding your own value in such high regard that you don't need to explain or justify it to those who do not see it. This quiet confidence can be a powerful magnet, drawing in the right kind of people and opportunities, people who respect you for who you are, not who they want you to be. For those who rejected you, this silence can become a powerful mirror reflecting their own inner landscape. They begin to realize that their rejection of you did not affect you as they anticipated. Rather than seeing you diminished or defeated, they observe you thriving in ways they hadn't imagined. They start to question their decision, wondering if in pushing you away, they've inadvertently pushed away a part of themselves. In a way, your silence invites them into a process of self-discovery. They might find themselves questioning their own motives, their own insecurities, and their own values. They begin to see that perhaps it wasn't you they were rejecting, but rather a part of themselves they weren't ready to face. Your silence becomes a teacher, revealing truths they may have been avoiding. It challenges them to look inward, to confront their own unresolved issues, and to grow. But let us not forget the most important part of this journey: your growth. In the silence, you have the opportunity to reconnect with the parts of yourself that are truly essential. You begin to value your own voice, your own path, and your own potential in a way that no external approval can measure. Your silence becomes a space where you can nurture your dreams, focus on your goals, and cultivate the strengths that define who you are. And here's the beauty of it all: as you embrace this silence, you begin to see that rejection was never a reflection of your inadequacy. It was instead being stoned toward becoming more authentic, more resilient, and more fulfilled. In choosing silence, you claim your worth without needing validation from anyone else. You discover that the power to define your life has always been within you, waiting for you to recognize it. This silence, this profound stillness, is not only a reaction to rejection, but also a declaration of independence. It is a sign that you are no longer chained to the opinions, judgments, or rejections of others. You are free to define your own path, to follow your own calling, and to live in alignment with your own truth. And that freedom, my friends, is priceless. For those who observe you from a distance, watching as you grow and thrive in your silence, the impact is often profound. They realize, perhaps too late, that their rejection did not weaken you, it strengthened you. They see that in choosing to stand alone, you have become someone they can no longer ignore. Your silence speaks of a strength they cannot understand, a resilience they did not anticipate, and a purpose they can no longer deny. And as they watch, some may even feel a longing to return, to be a part of your journey once again. But by then, you will have moved forward, embracing a life that is rich with purpose, clarity, and inner peace. Your silence has not only healed you, but has also shown them the cost of underestimating your worth. In this journey of silence, you discover a truth that transcends rejection: that your life's purpose, your sense of self, and your happiness were never tied to anyone's acceptance. Your silence reveals that your worth is rooted in something far greater than the opinions of others. It is grounded in the realization that you are enough just as you are, and that nothing, not rejection, not criticism, not doubt, can diminish your inherent value. So let silence be your response to those who cannot see your worth. Let it be your answer to those who try to define you by their limitations. And as you walk this path of quiet strength, may you find a peace that surpasses all understanding, a purpose that fills your heart with joy, and a confidence that no one can take from you. In this silence, you are reborn. You are free, you are whole, and you are powerful beyond measure. And that, my friends, is the legacy of your silence. Your silence, when embraced as a response to rejection, becomes a vessel of wisdom. It's not merely the absence of words, it's a powerful declaration of self-respect and boundary. Silence does something words cannot. It communicates on a level that speaks directly to the heart. While people might dismiss words as insincere or manipulative, silence has a way of bypassing all defenses and touching people's conscience. For those who rejected you, it becomes a reminder that you were strong enough to walk away without seeking approval, and this realization often unsettles them deeply. This discomfort they feel is rooted in their understanding that your silence is a choice. A choice to rise above the hurt and not be dragged down into resentment or bitterness. When you choose not to react, you demonstrate an awareness of your value, showing that you understand the importance of conserving your energy and mental peace. This is something that people who operate from a place of insecurity often cannot fathom. They expect reactions because they believe that rejection defines the rejected. But when you remain silent, you show them that their opinion of you does not control your worth. You refuse to be moved by their decision, proving that your sense of identity remains unshaken. And here is a profound truth: the person who can remain silent is often the one who has the strongest inner voice. They have nothing to prove, nothing to defend. Silence allows you to step back and view the situation objectively, not clouded by hurt or anger, but with clarity and grace. You begin to see that their rejection is not the end, but a stepping stone, pushing you toward a deeper understanding of who you are and what you deserve. In the silence, you find the courage to redefine yourself on your terms rather than allowing others' judgments to shape your identity. This silence nurtures a kind of confidence that is rare. It is not the confidence that comes from external validation or applause, but a quieter, more enduring sense of worth that cannot be taken away. And as you grow in this self-assuredness, others will begin to see you in a new light. They will see a person who is grounded, resilient, and unshakable, qualities that many aspire to but few attain. Over time, those who rejected you may come to realize that your silence was not a retreat, but an act of empowerment. As they watch you flourish without them, as they see you standing firm in your values and thriving in your purpose, they will come to understand that rejection did not weaken you, it revealed your strength. Your silence will become a reflection of their loss, a reminder of what they let go of, and this realization can be profoundly humbling. But here is something even more powerful as you grow in this journey. You start to understand that their rejection was not a punishment, but a redirection. It was a blessing in disguise, an opportunity to remove distractions and focus on what truly matters. When you embrace silence, you stop wasting energy on people who do not value you. And you redirect that energy toward those who do. You begin to attract relationships and opportunities that align with your highest self. People who appreciate you for who you are, not who they want you to be. Through silence, you are reintroduced to yourself. You begin to hear the desires of your heart, the dreams you once set aside, the goals you postponed for the sake of others. Silence creates space for you to reconnect with the parts of yourself that were overshadowed by rejection. And as you nurture these parts, you start to realize that your value was never diminished by someone's inability to see it. You are whole, complete, and valuable just as you are. In choosing silence, you take control of your story. You decide not to be defined by others' opinions, but by your own truth. This shift in perspective is transformative. Instead of seeking validation from others, you become your own source of worth. And in doing so, you become unshakable, radiating a strength that draws people to you, people who see your worth and respect it. For those who rejected you, your silence speaks louder than words. It tells them that you are not merely surviving without them, you are thriving. It tells them that their rejection did not diminish your value, instead, it magnified it. And as they watch you rise, they may feel a pang of regret, a realization that they let go of someone who had the courage to stand strong even in the face of rejection. This is the beauty of silence. It not only protects your peace, but also reclaims your power. It teaches you that you do not need anyone's approval to be whole, that you are already complete. And as you grow in this understanding, you become a beacon of strength for others. You inspire those around you to see that rejection is not the end, it's the beginning of a journey toward greater self-awareness, resilience, and fulfillment. In time, you will look back on this period of silence with gratitude. You will see that it was during these quiet moments that you discovered your true self. You will see that through silence, you gained a deeper understanding of who you are and what you deserve. And as you continue to walk this path, you will carry with you the strength, wisdom, and confidence that can only come from embracing silence in the face of rejection. So remember, silence is not a weakness. It is the voice of your inner strength, the quiet resolve that says, I am enough. Let your silence be a testament to your worth, a reminder that you are not defined by others' perceptions, but by your own understanding of who you are. Let it be the foundation upon which you build a life that is rich in purpose, joy, and fulfillment. And as you walk forward, may you find peace in knowing that your silence is not an absence, it is a powerful presence. A quiet strength that speaks volumes about the resilience of your spirit and the boundless depth of your worth.